Yeah.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to Four Corners of the Galley. I'm your host, PBO, and with me, as always, Mr. RG.
What's up?
I was about to say, you can be quiet, alright. And today you've joined us on the Four Corners of the Galley movie review. And this is...
Star Wars The Last Jedi,
Woo!
Episode 8.
Yeah, the spoiler edition. So, without further ado, let me just give you the warning. We are going to do Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, spoiler-filled review because the movie's been out for a little bit. It's a little controversial, so we're going to talk about it.
Super controversial.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about it.
Yep.
So let's go. Alright, so let's just get this out of the way. What's your feelings about The Last Jedi?
I like it.
I love it. So, that's where you get it from us. I'm going to tell you right up front, my score for The Last Jedi is a 4.5 out of 5. I thought this movie was absolutely freaking amazing. I love Rian Johnson's vision on Star Wars. I love the way he brings his style of filmmaking and puts it in the Star Wars world. It's got some controversial stuff. It takes some big leaps, and it does some amazing things in Star Wars that I've never seen before, and I freaking love it. And yeah, do I have some complaints? Of course. I have pretty much the same complaints that everybody else has. But we'll get to those in a second. So how's your feelings about it?
I feel it's good too. I feel after we watched it twice. Let's make that clear. The first time I was completely lost. It was a roller coaster emotion, so I didn't know what was going on. Second time it was more clear. I thought the story was more smooth the second time, and that the parts I didn't like the first time, I thought they got better. But some parts didn't get better.
So what would be your score out of 5?
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. So I'm not gonna lie. The first time we saw it, it's so fast paced and there's so much going on and it hits you so much you're lost.
You're lost.
And I'm not gonna lie. Just like every other Star Wars fan, we went all in with theories. We all had these theories. Who's Rey's parents? Who's Snoke? Is Luke gonna die? What craziness might happen? What other elements might come into play?
And Rian Johnson shot them all down.
Yeah,
every single theory is dead. All of them are dead.
Yeah, he basically brought you a totally different style Star Wars, which I love. I think it's absolutely amazing. He brought us something we've never seen in the Star Wars world, and he pushed the boundaries of the Force and the way they use the Force more than anyone has used the Force ever in Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Along with his visuals. Oh,
that's his visuals are without a doubt the best.
Yeah, his visuals are phenomenal. From the first scene in space to the last freaking scene, he hits you right where you want to be hit in the heart and the visual wise. And let's just say, because this is a spoiler review, I don't care what anyone says. That light speed scene, that thing gets me every time I watch it. I honestly, I can't wait for the Blu-ray. I will sit there on a time loop and just watch that amazing light speed scene. I mean, that is some of the greatest movie making I've ever seen in my life. I mean, just to actually see him do it, it was so gorgeous. And the fact that he was so authentic and that the vehicle was moving faster than sound. So there was no sound. And it was just, oh! The whole theater, you're like, both times gas. I mean, phenomenal. Yeah. Phenomenal. I mean, that, and then you get to the throne scene, and hello, let's go, Star Wars on another level. The slow motion back-to-back is probably one of the most beautiful scenes ever.
So let's get into, what is your favorite scene throughout the entire movie?
It's got to be the, if it's not that visual scene is very small, so I would honestly say it's when Rey starts to go into the pod of the Millennium Falcon. Because, I mean, you've never seen the escape pod of a Millennium Falcon. She's holding her lightsaber. You have no idea what's going on, what she's thinking. And the Millennium Falcon zooms out of light speed above the Dreadnought, drops her, and hits back at light speed. And from that point forward, you're like, oh boy, it's on. And you go and you meet Snoke in the throne room with Kylo. And man, that is Star Wars. Star Wars.
That's my favorite scene as well.
Yeah, that thing is
when they're in the throne room with Snoke's interrogating her, and then to the final battle in the throne room.
Yeah, where they basically team up to go against
the Praetorian Guards.
Yeah,
which we don't know if they're the Knights of Ren.
No, I think they're just his guards, but that is just masterful beauty in the work. I mean, and then the struggle afterwards. The minute they team up, and then instantly back on the opposite sides, it's beautifully done.
Now, who is your favorite character? In this one, we're Luke.
It's Luke. It's Luke. Yeah, Luke crushes it. Mark Hamill comes back as old Luke. He absolutely embodies this Luke that's been lost on this island. You watch him do his daily struggle that Rey watches. I mean, it's some of the most beautiful scenes, and the fact that he's so scared because of how he trained Ben back in the days and what he unlocked him, and or what Ben had already been unlocked. And like he says, in his hubris, he thinks that he can train the next Skywalker, and he realizes that he can't, and he gets scared, and then he closes himself off to the Force. I mean, this thing has everything to think of. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Rain really pushes it. And then the whole ancient temple Jedi, I mean, that thing is just gorgeous. What would be your favorite character?
This is tied between Poe and Kylo Ren. Poe on this movie was just another level. He was funny. He was everything a cocky pilot needed to be and more. And he was amazing.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac did a great job. Kylo Ren, however, a lot of character development, and that was really appreciated. He's good.
Adam Driver is just destroying him.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel like I'm going to get the quintessential Kylo Ren in this 9th one. I feel like you're going to get him at his highest power when he has the most strength and control that he's ever had. I feel like we're going to get this Kylo we've never seen. And he's going to be like, I feel like he's going to be drunk like we saw in that quick scene right before when he's about to fight his old master.
Oh, yeah, when he's just yelling at orders everywhere.
And he sees the Millennium Falcon, shoot that bitch and look out the sky, and he freaks out. I feel like we're gonna get that on another level.
The second half or the final act of this movie, Kylo Ren is just amazing.
Yeah, he's just absolutely amazing. But I mean, outside of that, the worst thing I think is probably the same as yours. It's the Canto Biota. It's the other
this would be our worst scene,
and just basically like use of a planet where it really doesn't pay off.
Now what you don't know is. Finn and the new character Rose, which we'll talk about in a second, go to a planet to get a code breaker. This planet's a gambling planet. Now, the first half of this scene is amazing.
Yeah, it's got some good stuff in it. It does. It really does. It's when they start to escape and it gets a little.
It's when they get captured and they escape and they're running on horse-like creatures and they're running through town. It makes no sense.
Well, they just so happen to put this guy in the cell with them who's all of a sudden a cheat. It's just a lot of it's just weird. You would think that the codebreaker would have noticed, maybe came over and break him out. I don't know. It's just really poorly done.
It's bad. It's just all that. The entire scene is bad.
Yeah, it doesn't, and it pays no purpose except for basically the end where Rain is kind of teasing this new generation of Force users, where you get Broom Kid at the end, who is one of the kids from the stables, and he uses the Force to bring the broom to him, and that's all you really know. I mean, nobody knows more than that. He brings the broom, he sweeps, he looks off into the distance, giving that a la Luke looking into the multiple suns and moons, and that's it. And Star Wars plays out. I mean, honestly, we don't know if he's Rain setting it up for 9. We don't know if Rain's setting it up for his trilogy. I mean, we just don't know where it's at. But it doesn't fit in this movie for no reason. It has nothing to do with anything. I mean, this movie is a giant chase movie from the start to finish. It's a slow chase. Yeah. It's a great chase, but this scene in the middle is purpose.
Took it out of
it's supposed to design so Rey has more time to train with Luke and to be with Luke, but
it doesn't.
They could have just did better. All that's for nothing because they get caught and nothing happens, and the only reason they get away from everything is because of an amazing light speed scene. So.
Who's your least favorite character in this movie?
I don't. Rose doesn't bother me. I'd probably be DJ. He just doesn't do much, and he's just no purpose to his thing. And he has to introduce him. Maybe there's something more to come to him, but I like Benicio del Toro, and there's just no purpose to him.
No. Rose is god awful.
I don't think she's that bad. She's not that bad. She's really good at the beginning when they first.
Her first 3 lines are good. After that, she's annoying. She serves little to no purpose. Literally, the only purpose she served was to turn off the tracking field. They get caught, and she literally serves no purpose.
Yeah, I don't know if and then she stops Finn from being a hero.
And then they tease her that she sacrificed herself. Okay, good, she's gone. And then he drags her, crying a man again. You see her still alive. So bad. She's bad.
Maybe a possible love interest. Yeah, that's
so bad.
It's a few things that's wrong.
So bad. And the DG character, I think it was fine because I think he was a moving piece in the movie, because without him, you wouldn't have the final struggle with the ships being shot down.
Yeah, they still both of them serve no purpose. They're all in that one timeline that doesn't really matter. They had to give Finn some purpose, and they kind of got stuck in a bind where they didn't really know what to do with Finn because they couldn't just keep him in that capsule and just gone for that long.
Mm-hmm.
That'd just be no fun to John Boyega, who's such an amazing actor as Finn. So that's some of the choices. That's definitely the I think the least. But I felt like this movie is amazing. I feel like if you're a Star Wars fan, you need to watch this movie at least twice. You need to give this movie the credit it deserves. We all went in with our own thoughts and things that we thought were going to happen, and none of it happened. 90% of it didn't happen. So I feel like you should go in with a fresh mind, knowing what's already going to happen, and you really will enjoy this movie that Rain has put together, this Star Wars movie that he's put together. It's beautifully done. I think it's beautifully done.
Now, we do not. I personally, I don't know about him, understand where the criticism comes. There is a lot of I don't know where plot points that show up in this movie, and it does. I understand why it would tick off some people, but at the end of it, it doesn't really matter.
I'm sorry, if we've survived the prequels that make a whole bunch of nonsense and create...
Yeah, but
prequels create metachlorians and all kinds of nonsense, and he's Jesus Christ, come on. They went to some levels. George was trying to pull some nonsense out with some of the prequels, and even some of the stuff in the other ones. We didn't get all the information in the original trilogy, and you were just led to believe you just got to keep with the story. The big turn in the original, yes, you get Luke is Vader as his father, and yes, that's the big thing, but I mean, that's the main connecting tissue. This Skywalker that we're following is actually Ben Solo.
So technically, Ben, Kylo Ren, is the main character of this new trilogy, not Rey, because Rey, as we all know, is a nobody.
But she's basically equal to his darkness. Yeah,
and people were saying, "Oh, Rey's getting too strong." Well, if you think about it, if it's like what Snoke says, Rey, like the famous line says, "Darkness rises and light to meet it." As the more and more stronger Kylo Ren gets, the more and more stronger Rey gets to keep the balance.
And he thought it was Luke and was mistaken.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about why he was chasing after Luke Skywalker, because he thought Luke was the balance for the dark, but instead it was this young girl Rey who came out of nowhere and is a story from nowhere. But that's the whole thing. But George has always talked about the balance in the Force and how the light matches the dark and how it's always been balanced. That's part of the lore. I mean, Rain carefully made sure he took beautiful care of Star Wars, and he did an amazing job. I can't wait for his trilogy. Great job, Ray. That's all I gotta say.
Now, this is the theory portion.
Now we'll jump into a couple of theory portions. I mean, who knows what we're gonna get in the next one, but I'm hoping we get a nice big time jump for sure.
There probably will be a big time jump just because of that final end scene with the broom kid. A time jump will most likely be Rey training the new generation of young Jedis.
Or looking for new rebels. They also have to deal with the death of Carrie Fisher, where she's not gonna be around, so maybe...
So that also helps the time jump.
Yeah, so maybe it's in the crawl, maybe it's at the beginning of the movie, but I think we're going to get at least a year to not a couple of years, and then you can really build up Kylo, because Kylo's army's already taken over all the galaxy.
He pretty much controls the galaxy, Yeah. And we have this theory where the Knights of Ren scenes in Force Awakens is actually the future. I mean, the Knights of Ren, although Snoke teased the Knights of Ren in Force Awakens, and we saw absolutely nothing, which is terrible. Why they didn't bring the Knights of Ren in this movie? We'll probably see them in the future.
Well, it is JJ's thing, so I think with JJ directing 9...
Yes, and I have full faith in JJ.
He'll get the Knights back. I think we'll definitely get the Knights back.
Yeah.
For sure. Alright. Well, that's our breakdown of Star Wars The Last Jedi. All I can say, folks, is give it a try. For people that aren't Star Wars fans, I think you should go see this, because this movie is totally different from other Star Wars movies, and you might truly enjoy what Rain has brought into the screen. Alright. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks. Good night, Ted.
See you next time.